Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another review. Today, we are going to review The Last of Us, which
Yeah, we got
is
3 episodes in one,
three
basically.
open. Yeah,
we're,
exactly.
catch- we're catching up.
We're catching up. Yeah. So I had no idea this was a video game.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess watching the show, I wouldn't tell if it were a video game as well. But right now,
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
yeah. But hey, IMDb loves it. IMDb gave it a 9.3. Wow.
Okay, so not knowing anything about the series or the
Mhm.
game or anything like that, what was your first impressions from the first episode?
Well, you got to give it to HBO because HBO just makes really great production. So I was feeling the production of the
Mhm.
show, right? And then
Yeah,
I
quality
was
is high.
yeah, right, exactly. The quality is like off the chain. And then I was like, okay, well, okay, this is not a zombie movie, but it is a virus slash.
It's zombie-esque.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, okay, well, it was an hour and a half, and I was like, all right, well, let me
Mhm.
check it out. I'll check out the second episode. First episode like caught my interest. I want to see more, which is why we
Mhm.
decided to go ahead and review it. So I do like what's going on. Again, I've never played the video game. I never knew this was a video game. I'm not
Mhm.
quite sure. I guess I should watch some videos of the video game, just people like playing the video games. I
Yeah, they
guess
got
I should
playthrough
find out
videos.
what this video game is all about and how does that translate into this series, because right now I don't see how the series
Well,
looks like a
this is
video
the thing.
game. Does
They've done a really good job adapting the game into the show.
Okay.
So, like, as far as like plot points, it's fairly accurate, except for episode 3. They went on a little bit of a left turn, but we'll get to that in a
We'll get
second.
to
But
episode 3.
as far as like the show and the game, it's like fairly accurate. Like they say lines from the game. That's also like they do it as well in the TV show, and they changed some things around and kind of made it more adaptable for TV. But the overall feeling of the episodes and the show and the game, it's pretty close. I would say it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
And the acting is A1. Acting is solid on this game.
Acting
And
solid,
the
like
TV show.
everyone gets
Yeah.
it, even Ellie, who's a little 14-year-old girl.
Yeah.
But
my
she's not.
my number one beef with these kind of shows is that people don't act like they're in the apocalypse. They always act like, I can just go outside and I'm gonna put my gun down real quick and let me go, let me stand by this bush and not pay attention to my surroundings. Like whenever I see a TV show, like it drives me crazy. Like just like Walking Dead is a prime example of that. Anytime somebody dies, they do something out of character so they can be vulnerable in that position to do something stupid. And this show, there's no exception. It goes across the board. Everybody has
Yeah.
the same problem.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, okay, does this girl know that there is an apocalyptic virus going on here and she may die? But
Yeah.
the other thing I want to say about this show is
Mhm.
it looks like this show is all about trying to get this girl, Ellie, to some sort of a facility so they can possibly get a vaccine or create a vaccine for
Yeah, they're
the
trying to
virus.
find a cure for her.
Right. So,
From her, I should say,
right.
not for her, from her.
Okay, so because of that, that seems like that's the plot, right? So does that
Yeah, that's
mean
the whole
that like
plot.
the next 4 or 5 episodes or 6 episodes is all about getting this girl to the facility to try to create a vaccine?
Yes and no, because like it basically there's a lot of stuff that happens
Mhm.
during the game to get them to the spot where the Firefly people are to do this vaccine thing. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen between then and there. Now, my question for them is that season 2 is basically the second game, and the second game is highly controversial, to say the least.
Mhm.
People are not happy about the second game. People
Why?
were upset. If you go online, people are mad. Well,
Why?
Joel dies.
Mhm.
He dies. He basically gets a golf club to his head, and then you have to play as one of the villains for half the game. And people were like, "Yo, f this game, f everybody involved."
You
You want
know,
me to play with the villain for the half of the game? Well, f you. Like that's the attitude people had about this game. So
wow.
I would say everyone loved the first game. Like it's critically acclaimed. The gamers loved the first game. They thought it was amazing, phenomenal. Second game, not so much. So you
Mm.
could just go online and see The Last of Us Part 2. The reviews are scathing to say the
Wow.
least. People are mad. Like when I say they were mad. Because like Joel's a beloved character in the game, and as you can see from the TV show, he's likable. Like people
Yeah.
like him,
Hmm.
and so like, to let him die like that is like, yo, what are you guys doing? It's a dick move, right?
Yeah.
They thought they had enough stuff in reserve for people like them that they can get away with that. It did not go over well.
Yeah.
People were pissed.
So again, we're reviewing the first 3 episodes of The Last of Us. What do you
Mhm.
think about the second episode? Which kind of for me, the second episode moved a little
Yeah, it moved
differently.
the plot forward.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
basically the very, very beginning of the game, like the very, very, very beginning.
Right. Hmm.
Um, the second episode was good. Like I liked the test character. Like you can see the skyline, the visuals are amazing.
The world
Like
is
it
nice.
looked,
Hmm.
yeah, the world looks really good.
Yeah.
Acting was solid. Like I liked it. I would say this about the third episode. We'll talk about that briefly, and we'll just wrap this up.
Hmm.
I personally felt like the third episode was written in a way to get an Emmy rather than tell the story.
Wait, was
That's what
the
it felt
third
like.
episode a woke episode?
It wouldn't even say this woke. It was just
Mhm.
it was written in a way so they can get an Emmy and they can get applause and people clap. You're stunning and brave, whatever, rather than push the storyline forward. Because it was a lot of time spent on Frank and Bill. A lot of time was spent on Frank and Bill.
I'll tell you
All right.
this. Soon as I started watching first of all, I didn't know the third episode was an hour and a half long. 1, 2. So that's 2 episodes
Mhm.
that are an hour and a half long. The other thing
Yes.
is, once I started seeing the interaction, the communication
Mhm.
between
Mhm.
Bill and Frank, I was like, oh, Brokeback Mountain all day. In the suburbs though.
It wasn't surprising. Well, because in the game it's implied, but they didn't really go there. And so I think for the TV show, the writers are like, we're gonna get an Emmy for this episode, so let's do this. They threw everything in this episode. They made it as long as possible. Because like when you start watching episode 3, you're like, okay, this thing's moving on. Ellie, they're on the road. He's like, we're gonna go see Frank. Bill, we're gonna see Bill, and he's gonna help us get on the road. Okay, cool. And they start with this backstory, and it goes 3 years. I was like, all right, we're gonna get back to nope. 3 more years, nope, 7 years, 20 years. I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's a fan favorite in the game. Like people really like that character, but like
Bill, people really like
20,
Bill.
yeah, people really like Bill from
Okay.
the game. But like
Mhm.
20 years, they told the story of their life, and I was like, we need to get back to Joel and Ellie because this is not pushing the storyline forward.
Mhm.
And the way it ends is like, well, they just they drank some Kool-Aid and it was a wrap for them. That was the way their story ended. I'm like, well, this you could have wrote this in a note that hey, we had a great life together. We drank some Kool-Aid. Grab our stuff out of the bunker, move forward on.
Right.
That could have been the whole thing right there. But I feel like the writers they wrote it in a way specifically so they can get an Emmy, and it was very kind of manipulative, I would
Mhm.
say, and just the style of how it was presented. It was they're gunning for the Emmy. They wanted the Oscar, they wanted the Grammy, they wanted the Tony Award, they wanted everything out of
They
this
want the
episode.
EGOT. They want the
So,
EGOT.
yeah, they want the EGOT, right?
So
That's honestly, that's what it felt like.
what was weird about like episode number 3 is one. So they kept pushing the plot forward, like you said, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, right? Throughout
Mhm.
like a 15, 20-year span, they never got attacked, right?
Oh
No
yeah,
one ever,
one time.
right? Never, no one came into their facility. I mean, he basically gated off an entire cul-de-sac, like in the suburbs, and it was like,
Yeah.
"This is mine." The boyfriend said, "You know what? Let's." He said, "I want to do the boutique over." Right? It's just like, but it's only the two of you.
We just draw attention to people who see all this thing's nicely painted. Let's go.
It's
There's
like, I
people over
mean,
here.
you're like hammering nails, like doing Reno and everything. Like the aliens are like, wait a minute, I hear something here. This
You gotta lay low. You want this thing look run down so people stay away. That's what you want.
episode 3, like I said, they spent like an hour. It's an hour and a half. They spent basically
An
an
hour, yeah.
hour 10 minutes on
Yeah.
this entire Brokeback Mountain sort of scene, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, but where's the aliens and where's like Joel and Ellie and Tess is now blown up. Like Tess was like, I got infected, someone bit me, And the way they
Yeah, she's
ended that
like, hell,
was, the alien or whatever it was came up to her and they sort of
fungus.
like embraced in a very passionate kiss, right?
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
And then she blew herself up.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
fungus and whatever clickers, whatever they're calling them.
yeah,
They changed everything different, but it was like it was a weird kiss. I was like, this is kind of awkward. Like this is
it's
romantic right now. Like
this show is it's a little interesting. I will say that it's again, I'm
Mhm,
not a video game person, right? I've never seen a video game, and I'm just like I'm coming in raw, fresh, right? And I'm like, okay, well,
mhm,
if you came into this show fresh, you never heard of the video game, you've never seen the video game, nothing like
mhm.
that. How would you feel about this show?
I okay, because I played the game, I have a built up of a love for the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I hadn't known anything about the game, I would just be like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
They're banking off the fact that it's a beloved game, like it's a highly rated game, like hundreds of millions of copies. Like it's people really like this game, so like I think that it's banking off of that. It's benefiting off of it's a better way to say it.
yeah,
So I think it's an okay TV show, but because I know the storyline and where it's going, I want to see more. But had I not seen that, I would just be like, yeah, 5 out of 5 or five
right.
out of 10. It's like, all right,
And see,
it's
that's
okay.
I think like the 9.3 that IMDb gave it, I think
Oh,
that's
it's all gamers.
largely
It's all
it's
gamers.
all gamers, dude. All gamers, right? And it's just like, okay, well, see, again, me going in
Mhm.
fresh, I'm like, oh, it's just okay, right? Um,
Yeah.
but
So
it's
basically,
HBO.
they made a TV show out of cutscenes from the
Yeah,
game. That's basically what it
yeah.
is.
But it's HBO and HBO does, it's
Yeah, like
HBO.
quality is high, the
Quality is
acting is
high.
high,
Yeah. Mhm.
production value is high. It feels like this is a lived-in world,
Yeah.
like a real apocalypse. Like it
It
feels
looks
like
good.
that.
Yeah.
Action is decent. Like you
Mhm.
feel like okay, this is decent quality. But like storyline wise, it's The Walking Dead with spores,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
It's
And
just like
and, and huge, like, whatever on their heads.
yeah, they got like fungi growing out of their head. That's it's
Okay,
yeah.
listen, this is okay, so I'm gonna continue watching this, but let's rate,
Mhm.
like, what we've seen thus far, like, episode 1 through 3.
Okay.
What are you gonna rate The Last of Us thus far? 3 episodes under the belt.
3 episodes in, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now,
Mm,
had I not seen it before, I don't know anything about this, I would give it a 5.
yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's okay-ish, but because I know where it's going, I give it a 7 because I would like to see the other stuff that's gonna happen. But this is 7 out of potential, not 7 as is right now, baked
right.
in. The
Mhm,
7 of potential to maybe be 8, basing where they go.
mhm,
But it's okay. I'm not
mhm,
gonna lie and be like, "That's the greatest thing ever." It's okay.
yeah.
It's not great.
I
What do
am
you
going
rate it?
I am going to rate it, I'm going to give it a 5.
Mhm,
And the reason why I'm giving it a 5 is because, again, I'm not like, I don't know about this world. It's almost like, the Lord of
mhm.
the Rings. It's just like, I don't know about that, right? Even though
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought the Rings of Power was pretty awesome, but after watching the
mhm.
movie, I was like, oh, the movie's a sicko, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're like,
So,
"Oh, yeah, it's a
right.
different level right
So
now."
I think things will
Mhm,
pick up, and once I start getting do a bit more due diligence on what this is, maybe I'll have a different light on it. Just a different outlook on it
mhm,
once I'm able to just research and see exactly what this is. But right now I'm giving it a 5. Keo, you're
mhm.
giving it a what, 7?
Yeah, I give it a 7. I give it a
Okay,
7
a
because
7.
I know what's happening, I know it's going to happen, I
Mhm.
give it a 7.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
Alright.